20 engineers stood around a car worth more than most people's lifetime earnings, and none of them could fix it. Laptops open, tools scattered, confidence slowly turning into frustration. The CEO watched, impatient, losing faith by the second. And then, a quiet voice spoke from the corner. A man no one had noticed. A single dad in simple clothes. "May I take a look?" he asked. Some laughed. Others ignored him. But 5 minutes later, the engine roared to life. And the look on their faces. That was just the beginning. Stay till the end, because what this man reveals afterward will change everything you think about intelligence, success, and who truly deserves respect. The garage was filled with tension, the kind that builds when expectations collide with failure. Bright lights reflected off the sleek body of the Bugatti, a machine engineered to perfection, now sitting silent as if refusing to cooperate. Around it stood some of the best engineers in the city. Specialists with years of experience, advanced tools, and reputations built on solving the impossible. One by one, they had tried. Diagnostics were run, components checked, systems analyzed. Each attempt carried confidence at the beginning and uncertainty at the end. The problem wasn't obvious. It didn't follow patterns. It didn't respond to conventional fixes. And that was what made it frustrating. At the center of it all stood Elena, the CEO. Known for her sharp mind and high expectations, she wasn't used to delays, especially not when it came to something she valued. The car wasn't just a symbol of wealth, it represented precision, control, and excellence. And right now, it was none of those things. "How is this still not fixed?" she asked, her voice controlled but firm. No one answered directly because there wasn't a clear answer to give. The engineers exchanged glances, each one aware that the situation was slipping beyond their control. Time passed, and the atmosphere grew heavier. Confidence turned into silence. Solutions turned into guesses. And slowly, the realization settled in, they were stuck. Near the entrance of the garage, a man stood quietly, holding the hand of a small child. He hadn't come to solve anything. He was there for work, a routine job, something simple. His name was Imran, a single father who balanced life between responsibility and survival. His daughter, Sana, stayed close to him, observing everything with curiosity. To her, the scene wasn't about failure, it was about something fascinating happening right in front of her eyes. Imran watched silently as the expert struggled. He didn't interrupt, didn't step forward, didn't draw attention to himself. But he understood what he was seeing. Not because he had the same tools or titles, but because he had something else. Experience. The kind that comes from working with limited resources, from solving problems without support, from learning by doing rather than being taught. After a long moment of hesitation, he spoke. "May I take a look?" The words were simple. But the reaction wasn't. Some of the engineers turned, surprised. Others dismissed it instantly. "This isn't something you can just look at," one of them said, not harshly, but with clear doubt. Elena glanced at him briefly, her expression unreadable. In another moment, she might have ignored him completely. But something about the situation, the frustration, the lack of progress, made her pause. "Fine," she said finally. "You have 5 minutes." It wasn't an invitation. It was a test. Imran nodded, not with confidence, but with calm acceptance. He stepped forward, his daughter watching closely, her belief in him quiet but unshaken. Because to her, he wasn't just someone trying to help. He was someone who always found a way. The garage fell silent as Imran approached the car. Not out of respect, but out of curiosity. Some watched with amusement, others with skepticism. To them, this was a moment that would confirm what they already believed, that experience without credentials meant nothing in a situation like this. But Imran didn't react to any of it. He didn't rush. He didn't try to impress. He simply observed. His eyes moved across the car, not looking for complexity, but for something that didn't fit. He listened to the silence of the engine, the absence of sound telling him as much as noise would have. He opened a panel, checked a connection, paused, then adjusted something so small it almost seemed insignificant. No dramatic movement. No complicated process. Just precision. The kind that comes from understanding, not guessing. Start it, he said calmly, stepping back. The request was simple. But the reaction wasn't. One of the engineers hesitated, clearly unconvinced. Elena nodded slightly, giving permission. The key turned. For a brief moment, nothing happened. And then the engine roared to life. Not weakly. Not uncertainly. But perfectly. The sound filled the garage, cutting through the silence, replacing doubt with something else entirely. Shock. The same people who had dismissed him now stood still, trying to process what had just happened. It wasn't just that the car was fixed. It was how it had been fixed. Quickly. Simply. Without complication. Elena stepped forward, her focus no longer on the car, but on the men who had repaired it. How did you do that? She asked. The question wasn't challenging, it was genuine. Imran looked at her for a moment, then at his daughter, who smiled as if she had expected nothing less. It wasn't broken the way you thought, he said. Sometimes, the problem isn't complicated. We just make it that way. The answer carried more meaning than the situation itself. Because it wasn't just about the car. It was about perspective. About understanding. About seeing what others overlook because they're focused on proving what they already know. Elena stood there, absorbing the words, realizing something she hadn't considered before. That knowledge doesn't always come with titles. That skill doesn't always announce itself. And that sometimes, the person no one notices, is the one who sees the clearest. What do you do? She asked quietly. Imran smiled slightly, not with pride, but with humility. I fix things, he said. The simplicity of his answer said everything. Because that's what he had always done, not just with machines, but with life itself. And as the moment settled, one truth became clear to everyone in that room. That greatness isn't always loud. It doesn't always look impressive. And it doesn't always come from where you expect. Sometimes, it stands quietly in the corner. Waiting. Until the moment comes. And when it does, it doesn't need recognition. Because the result speaks for itself.